Hey, department heads. After yesterday's meeting, I used the phrase clear as mud to describe learning goals and success criteria and what we were skimming over. Because I gotta be honest, I've gone to the session with Sandra Earps and I didn't understand what they were talking about. So I just wanted to go through what my comprehension and understanding is of learning goals, how I'm using them, and then how success criteria fits in. And let me know what you think, or if there's something else that we need to be thinking about, or if this only works in English or social sciences or the things that I'm teaching. So long story short, early in February when we were all thinking about this and Earl's talking about learning goals and we're scrambling trying to figure out really what that means, I started looking at the achievement chart for English. And I started looking at the skills of really what we are being asked to do in English and to go over this. Now, this is for 9 to 12, not elementary. So I'm looking at the expectations for my curriculum. And so I'm going to use my online learning course that we created success criteria from. But I wanted to show you what I created from this. So I was showing this to Greer last night. But I took all of those and then just summarize them into charts that I could pick and choose really what I was doing. You know, in terms of backwards design, you could use these. I somewhat use them in the, no, this is the way I'm doing it, and so I can show you which of these skills that I'm actually learning as I go through. I can tell you any one of these. The whole writing it on the board is something that I'm trying this year so that my students are clear on what we're doing. So I took these and summarized them into here, and it's not necessarily good. Some department members had some ideas as to how to improve it, but I just thought in terms of looking at learning goals, if I was to pick words or tasks that we're working on, that I can phrase my own sentences but use the language here that's coming from here. So learning goals I write up on the board, and in my online learning class, we even use those. They're stated at the beginning of each activity that we do. So this was something that we created in Writer's Craft. So the learning goal was identified within the activity, that what we were working on in this particular unit where we're writing a short story is that we're learning to collaborate with peers using the writing process to improve. And that we're creating feedback in addition to writing our own document. So if I was to look through here, I'm looking at communication skills, and I'm looking at planning and organization. So I can pick out of here the skills that I'm looking for, and there's not necessarily the language that's in here is written in here, but I can take some of those ideas and put them in. So I can attach it to the task that we're learning. And then this is the criteria that we created for class. So aside from the learning goal as to what we're trying to learn that I took from the curriculum that I put in a little chart, and now what we're doing is something almost completely different. This is what Therese was talking about. This is the success criteria. So as a class, we had a discussion in my online class about what effective feedback looks like. And we talked about how most students are afraid to get feedback because it often looks negatively at them, not just at the product that they've created. So we created 5 simple things as to what good feedback looks like. This was co-created, and it's the criteria that they're going to reflect on to say whether or not they met these expectations when they provided feedback in the discussion. So they not only created their own writing piece, but they had to peer edit and evaluate 2 other students. And so they used this to make sure that the feedback they were giving them was meeting this criteria of what good feedback is. So I'm not sure what was trying to be said in the meeting, but here's the key thing. I think we're just trying to identify what are the students learning, and then the success criteria is how they know they're doing it. That was not clear last night, but this is what I'm doing. This is what it looks like in my classes, taking from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, where they can identify what they're doing and then whether or not they're doing it successfully. Let me know if that helps. Let me know if it hurts.